I attended Berkeley, University of California at Berkeley in the 50s. And it was back in the 50s when I was seeking housing even to go to school there. I had a tough time finding housing. I ended up staying at a private residence in order to be able to live there while I was there in Berkeley. So it was a tough time. I can recall Rumford Drugstore. And in that drugstore, we were able then to pick up some African-American news. He had a shelf in which he carried African-American newspapers, as an example, from throughout the countries. National papers like the Afro-American and Chicago Defender and a few other national newspapers at the time. And I became very enchanted with newspapers, literally from that introduction at the time. Well, you know, the African-American press has been around for quite some time. Here in Northern California, one of our earlier pioneers, of course, was Dr. Carlton Goodlett. Dr. Goodlett was a physician, of course. That was his main calling. However, again, he had an opportunity to pick up a paper called The Reporter, which he merged with the Sun Reporter, and they began publishing quite a few years before many of us. I was, in fact, a paper boy of the Sun Reporter, as an example. So Dr. Goodlett is looked upon as kind of our early dean of the black press of Northern California. Following Dr. Goodlett, we ultimately started our newspaper in 1962. And we were one of the earlier ones right during the Civil Rights Movement, right when the activity was beginning to boil, when we had activity going on in not only in Northern California, but throughout our nation. And so we were very excited about starting in 62. Following us was Tom Berkeley, an attorney out of Oakland. And Tom Berkeley, of course, he founded and started what he called the Post. And then he expanded his Post into a variety of communities in the Bay Area, Richmond, Berkeley, Oakland. He was servicing those markets during a period of time. And of course, here in the state capitol, here in Sacramento, the Capitol Press would not allow any African-American or non-daily newspapers, they called them, to really serve the Capitol. So we had a tough time finding and getting news. We had to get it from our own sources, and that was opened up primarily by the African-American legislators who at that time began to emerge and began to come forth at the Capitol. And even our professionals were beginning to grow. We had finally got elected individuals to our city council and to our school boards and things. So dynamics in the politics began to grow. In business, I had a real estate firm that had 17 agents working for me, as an example. We had groups like the Men's Civic League, the Sacramento Area Black Caucus, and they were active groups and all. And that was opened up primarily by the African American legislators who at that time began to emerge and began to come forth at the Capitol. And that's when we were able to become members of the Capitol Press.